This week's episode of Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
Home box offices, Entourage,
and GoDaddy.
I feel like you
I like this.
take issue with
awesome.
dying all the time in video games. When you die a lot. And so I just wanna, it made me question,
Your
do I have a
own
problem
mortality?
Yeah.
The issue is whether or not I die because of something
You did, or
I
the
did,
game did
or I
to
feel
you?
exactly feel
Yeah.
out of control about.
Because if it's
I
just
agree with
something
that.
you did, it's like
oh, I can do that.
I'm a moron.
Yeah.
That was me. That was my bad. I get it.
Yeah.
I should have hit A. I hit B.
But you feel
Got
like,
it. Right.
But if it's like whoop, rock, bang, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
well,
What
not
was
that. It's more like you hit a button on the controller, and you intended for something to happen, but because the game had a frame rate thing or
Right.
something, and you're like, oh, well, that's not.
Or if my strategy was wrong, I can accept that. But if the game design is such that
It tricked you into dying right there. Like all of a sudden it tells you you can't jump, and you're trying to jump over something, and it's like, oh no, we just locked your boots
for instance,
together.
I'll give you a great for instance.
Okay. Yeah.
Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
I should have been able to go up to the top of that building and stand there. Unfortunately, when I arrived at the top of that building, there was Blue Death waiting for me. I had no way of knowing that there was Blue Death there
Well,
until I
they're
got there.
saying Blue Death.
What?
Well,
you
you
didn't
see
see
it.
it.
My point there was the difference between Blue Death
Hey, guys,
and
rock.
a fence where you can't go through that.
Finally,
this is the
dude.
thing.
Finally.
No, wait, it's on this rock.
Sorry about that landing. My rad brethren, it is I, Don Fubar from the Electric Playground, and today on the show, it is with the utmost importance that you talk about the movies Public Enemy, Hurt Locker, the video game The Conduit, and the comic book The Walking Dead. Or you might just end up like Dan. Sorry, Dan. Ugh. That's not coming out.
Three rad guys living normal lives are recruited by a team of super spies. Their missions classified, but you may surmise they battle evil by quoting movie lines. Game and TV guides are used like knives to quell the rise of demon samurais. We know it sounds contrived, but we tell no lies. It's as the name implies, the Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 120. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada. I'm Dan Trackman.
Totally Rad Show is a weekly dose of all things rad. We take out the rad abacus, check how many tens are on one side, and recount to you the abacus of rad.
Our second abacus shout out.
Is it? I love me. You know, abacus is just
We use
comedy.
abacus as a
Abaci.
lot to bring you
I
rad.
think the plural is abaci.
It is. We have 7 abaci.
Hey, we're doing comics this week.
We are doing
and we got
comics
a
this week.
comic-themed background.
Yeah, one of the ones, Jason sent this in, one of the ones that we're talking about this week is going to be Walking Dead.
Yes.
And this is a sort of issue throwback of Walking Dead.
We got this background quite a while ago.
Probably
in
maybe
anticipation
even a
of
hunch
us.
of, hey, why don't you talk about Walking Dead?
Yeah.
7 years ago. So now we are here to do that. Also, we did want to say, clearly people enjoy themselves some geocaching, as we do.
I think we started a trend because judging by the number of tweets, emails, and forum posts that I saw,
Tweet, claps, and
I think we got
forums.
some
I don't know
people
if
that
we started it, but
Okay, some people
we
tried
alerted
it 'cause-
people to a trend is
we
happening.
did alert people to
I
a
think
trend.
that,
So as we were probably batting 10 on the geocaching circuit, no,
we bet
a lot of bad.
Clearly batted about 333 is what we batted.
not these two. So
Yeah, we had more misses. We had a couple wins.
We had one
But
win.
some fail-
No,
one
no,
win?
what do you mean a couple wins?
Yeah.
One win.
When I went home, I got another
One win and
No,
two.
don't worry about it.
That's
Yeah.
batting 330.
So anyway, we actually got an email from the guy that did both caches that we tried on the actual geocaching segment. He totally pilled us out. He said, dudes, this is where the thing is. So a little bit
he
of a
was cool
spoiler
about
alert. He
it.
was super cool.
And it's funny because we butchered his name too. It's actually RAMMD. So he's a doctor.
That's what I call my
Ramdy.
doctor, Ram Dog.
Ram dog.
Ram
Hey,
dog.
Ram Dog.
We got Ram
Touch
Dog.
my balls. Let me know if I have a disease. I don't know.
Is that, you might not be going to the right kind of doctor.
Your doctor doesn't do that?
No, mine's an internal medicine. He goes, I don't need to touch your ball. So thankfully we have the information. So a little bit of a spoiler alert. We're going to show you footage of
Just
Jeff
to show how
standing in
close we
front
were.
of the thing. So take a look.
There's also a hint.
What does it say?
It says you don't want me to serve it up on a plate for you, do you?
So yeah, if
So clearly
if it had had teeth, it would have bitten me.
in the ass. So anyway, let's get into the show, shall we? Geocaching.
This week in movies, we return to our popular summer format of one big flick, one small flick.
Nice.
Starting
Tale of two
off,
flicks.
The tale of two
starting off, Public Enemies in the Hurt Locker. We're going to start off with Public Enemies. So Public Enemies is from director Michael Mann, who's regarded as the king of the cops and robbers movie. He created Miami Vice and later did the movie. Did movies like Thief and Manhunter and
Heat.
Collateral, and then later went on, and then also made Heat, which has what's widely known as one of the greatest bank robbery sequences ever filmed. Well, he decides to make Public Enemies about one of the greatest known bank robbers.
Yeah.
He's also no stranger to period films with Last of the Mohicans and The Insider. So Public Enemies stars Johnny Depp as John Dillinger, and it's basically what The Untouchables was for Elliot Ness and Al Capone. This is for John Dillinger and I guess Melvin Purvis, who's played by Christian Bale.
And Babyface Nelson and a couple different.
The whole gang of those dudes that we've only heard of before. So also,
Pretty boy Floyd.
as with the last crop of last 3 or 4 Michael Mann flicks, it's shot on video, and I'm sure Alex will have opinions on that, and maybe Jeff will this time. I don't know. Maybe. Jeff, what did you think?
Of Public Enemies,
Of Hurt Locker.
Yeah. Switch. Switch. That was the old Dan Switch.
the old Dan flippity-doo. I liked Public Enemies for the most part. I don't think it's the film that Heat is, which I'm a huge fan of Heat, and I know Alex is not, but I think Heat
No, Alex
is
is a fan of Heat. He just didn't like that scene as much as everyone else, right?
I thought you didn't like Heat at all.
Yeah, no, I like. He was alright. It was okay. I didn't love it. but
I think Heat's a fantastic movie, and it does that follow the good guy, follow the bad guy. Inevitably, they, cross paths. And which this movie is attempting to do also. And I just don't think it succeeds in the same way. Johnny Depp is just such a charismatic leading man, and every time he's on screen, it is riveting and fascinating to watch him work. I also thought the woman whose name escapes me now, the female lead,
Marie Cotillard,
who won the Academy Award. She's great too. There's not enough of her, and I wish the last section of the film is much more a love story than the rest of the movie, and I think it really worked, and I don't think it built up to that as well as it could have. I liked the end of this movie much more than the lead up because it really isn't a biopic. We don't really learn a lot about John Dillinger or Melvin Purvis, for example. And, spoiler alert, but, they have that thing at the end where they say what happened after the movie ends, and you find out that he committed suicide, and it's like, whoa, we didn't even get a hint of any conflict in this guy that would lead to that.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that I don't feel like I learned about these people as much as I would have liked, but the ride was pretty cool.
So this movie was shot on the Sony F23 camera, and some of the internal scenes that wouldn't
The ones
fit-
inside the body?
the ones that were inside the body, which were very new.
You're a doctor.
Yeah,
He's a
no,
specialist
ear
doctor.
doctor. Some of the car internal scenes that they couldn't were actually shot on the Sony EX1, which is the predecessor of the camera that I'm using right now.
And some sequences are shot on film. There's a variety of different cameras used.
I didn't read anything about them shooting any on film,
Yeah.
which is interesting because
But
So
anyway.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Movie's okay. Movie's okay. As a movie, as a story, it was okay. I kind of agree with Jeff. It really wasn't a biopic. Not much really all that stuff happened, and you know, the gunfights were sort of cool. There wasn't actually a lot of bank robbing in a movie that's ostensibly about bank robbing, shot by the guy who shot the possibly best bank robbing scene ever.
And the
There's like a couple.
the robbers are
Just
kind
a
of
little-
boring.
They're a little
I mean,
boring.
there's not much that happens.
So I've been on record with some Michael Mann stuff in the past about not liking, and also some Mel Gibson stuff like Apocalypto I had a really big problem with, of the shooting films that I think scream for being shot on film, being shot on digital. And I think I came down to why in my opinion, it works in movies like Collateral and doesn't work in movies like Public Enemy, which is Collateral, for me personally, and it's all a personal preference thing, I feel like the story makes sense being shown in this way. And it doesn't ever feel like the cinematographer and the director are fighting against that choice. In this movie, I really felt like they said, we're gonna shoot this on video, it's gonna be real doco style, handheld, but then they fought against it so much because there are some shots that are like these great locked off, beautiful shots that don't really make sense in the world that you are going to be dirty handheld video guy. And I felt like there were times in the middle of scenes where you would see the camera just jerk for no reason, almost like the cinematographer was going, oh shit, this is handheld. See? Look how handheld. So it really was distracting. And the stuff where action happens, like one of the big end gun battles, to me was unwatchable. It was just unwatchable. It was like, this is stupid. It looks like the TVs that you see that have the like 120 motion, cinema motion, and it goes, oh, that looks stupid, I'm gonna turn that off. That's what these movies
The
look
shutter is
like.
what they're, yeah, is why that
It might be.
The motion feels that way.
Yeah, so for me, it takes me out of it, but minus that, I thought the movie was just sort of okay anyway.
It still doesn't bother me.
You know,
I know. It bothers some people.
I would say I thought I was gonna hate the video, and it's actually I kind of grew to like it. I think.
What do you think of the movie?
I want to say about the video that I did actually grow to like it and see why the choice was made to be shot on video. I kind of felt like how cool it is that we get to see this time period shot in such a naturalistic documentary style. And on video, there was a realism brought to it and immediacy brought to it that we haven't had before. On the flip side, there were sequences that the video was very distancing because it felt like I'm watching the behind the scenes of how the action scene was shot,
that's a good way to
rather
put it.
than the actual scene itself. So I don't think he's clocked into. I personally, I think Michael Mann is really loves what the video is able to capture. There's the sky, the depth of field of the characters, and the relationship to the sky and the way that sky looks on video, and time of day, and which was why I use it on Collateral, because the marine layer in LA can only be seen on video. It can't be captured on film. I think that is what he's after, rather than the way it makes someone watching it feel. So I think he's after the image and the quality of that image as opposed to the feeling that it provokes. Moving up.
Do you like that? I mean, do you like that about it?
I liked it in Collateral. I liked it in some other films shot on video. I liked it in sequences shot here. But it often felt it was very distracting.
So what did you think of the movie overall
The
then?
movie, I really was very meh on. Actually siding on not liking. Like you guys, in mentioning it's not a biopic, regardless of it being a biopic, I just couldn't glean anything from the characters.
Yeah.
I got nothing from Johnny Depp or Christian Bale. I got, thematically and story-wise, this has nothing, I found nothing in this movie that I had not already seen in other movies, including those in Michael Mann's filmography. Ultimately, I could not describe to you the character of John Dillinger or the character of Melvin Purvis.
Well,
if
the
I had
other
to
thing
say
is there's so
what
many,
they are as
there's
people,
so
I
many
have
other,
no idea.
There's so many other people that are in this movie that I didn't know until like Stephen Dorff is in this movie. Channing Tatum's in this movie. I had no freaking idea.
That's because
and I'd seen
he's
them.
Michael Mann and he can cast big names in bit parts.
No, but those
people wanna
weren't
work
big
with
parts. That was Babyface, not Babyface Nelson. That was Pretty Boy Floyd. But those
Yeah,
are people,
but he
and
had-
Homer. Those are people that were there to the end that you saw in almost every scene, and you had no freaking
Channing Tatum
idea.
is-
He died in 2 seconds, but yeah.
Say what?
He died in
Oh, he
the
was the
first
running
scene.
guy.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah,
blue guy.
yeah.
Anyway,
No, it's Stephen Dorff.
so mixed reviews on Public Enemies. Moving on. Hurt Locker is from director Catherine Bigelow. I love
She related to
Catherine.
Deuce Bigelow?
Bigelow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
It does. It just did.
She is related
It was
to
funny.
a fictional character.
I was bringing up a joke, and you just
Isn't that
made
weird?
it
I know
really
these
funny.
things. Yeah.
Interesting.
So she's a phenomenal director. She busts the door down on the female stereotype by making what we could sort of colloquially refer to as dude movies.
Yeah.
She is a master of all genres, doing the horror flick with Near Dark, the science fiction movie with Strange Days, the action movie, the
caper movie with
Point Break.
Point Break.
And K-19, The Widowmaker, Submarine. I mean, she's done every genre.
I
Well,
liked K-19 a lot. I think it was really underrated.
I
Is
didn't
that the
see
one
it.
with,
Oh, it's
with
great.
Harrison Ford and the horrible
it's
accent?
It's freaking intense.
Once you
man.
get past the accent,
Well, I
Harrison
didn't even
Ford.
care about that.
Anyway,
No, I know, that's
so
what, you got past it.
here, Catherine Bigelow tackles the Iraq War film. But I think that's misleading because
I think, yeah.
Iraq film and war film, they conjure certain images, but it really is a bomb squad film. So it's blown away.
So think Monster Squad, but with
bombs. Thank
Ah.
you. And it stars Jeremy Renner as an elite bomb squad specialist dude, and his team.
And talk about a couple casting famous people in small roles.
Yeah,
That seemed also like a favor.
Epic.
Like, hey, you just work for a
But
day.
epic.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And the guy from We Were Marshall. We Are Marshall. The kid from We Are
And the
Marshall.
kid, he's in We Are Marshall as well? Okay.
Yeah. Is his friend, the guy who,
I know, I know you're referring to. So, go ahead, Alex.
Wow, I really enjoyed this movie. I was sort of surprised because Iraq war movie, not my cup of tea. I was like, war movie usually I'm like, eh. But this is more blown away than, an Iraq war movie. I think Jeremy Renner is great. I thought the whole cast was great. I think this movie has probably one of the most intense and crazy sniper sequences of any movie I've ever seen. I mean, that sniper sequence was mind-blowing. So I enjoyed it way more. That said, from watching the trailer, I didn't really have all that much high expectations for it going in because I was like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, Jeremy Renner, hadn't really seen him in anything sort of as the lead role, even though he did Dahmer, which I've heard he was amazing in. So I sort of had low expectations and went in. There are definitely scenes where it's like so freaking intense. It's ridiculous. It's gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. It gets a little slow in the middle a little bit, and I thought the end could have been a little chop, chop, chop. I get what she was doing. So I don't think it's a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought it was a really, really enjoyable, fun film.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it. But it's interesting. The thing I didn't like is it sounds like exactly what you liked. I think it got too Hollywood because actually what happens is it turns into this movie about this superhuman man without fear rather than a human being, and that kind of bugged me. And I agree with you that basically what the movie is a series of vignettes of bomb disarms. And it's incredible that she manages to basically put the character in the same situation 4 or 5 times. I mean, it's different a little bit, but it's basically doing the same thing, and it's never any less compelling, intense, and absolutely riveting. That's an accomplishment. And you've seen a bomb disarm scene in lots of different movies, but here it is so incredibly heart-wrenching because even at the point where he doesn't need to be doing it, I mean, it seems to happen over and over that he gets himself in these situations of like, you don't even need to do this, which to me is like the sort of superhero side where it just detaches from reality for me, and especially the end. I was really let down by the end because it
Gotcha. This movie's getting a lot of praise, and for whatever reason, I just sort of liked it. I really expected to love this movie, and I really just sort of liked it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I I think Jerry Renner is absolutely a star. And
Jeremy.
seeing him, yeah,
You said Jerry. Sorry.
Oh, I don't think I did. But seeing him in this movie is a lot like seeing Colin Farrell in Tigerland, which was his first American film and also a war film. And they play very similar roles in being very anti-hero and badass and dudes that you just wish you could be that cool. He's just got a charisma to him that's remarkable. I never really felt as tense as I did in the opening sequence. Even that sniper battle, I just didn't. And ultimately, what I gleaned from this experience though was that there really are two kinds of war movies. There are soldiers are heroes, like Saving Private Ryan, and there's war madness, like Jarhead or Full Metal Jacket or whatever.
Right.
And this is the war madness genre. The filmmaking is phenomenal.
It's much lighter than those two movies that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't know.
As far as on the madness tip, it's much.
It
doesn't feel as dangerous as those movies,
Dangerous. But I just want to say that the film. While I didn't love the story, the filmmaking really was terrific. And other movies like this, like Blown Away, are about the size of the explosion, and Blown Away has one of the classically the biggest explosion.
Yeah.
And this movie isn't about the size of explosion, kind of similar to what Ridley Scott did in Body of Lies. It's
about the motion of the ocean.
It's about the details of the explosion and what the things that happen that you don't normally think about. It's like Jerry Seinfeld saying a joke about things that you take for granted in life, and when he says it, you're like, oh yeah, that's so true.
You're like, airplane food
It does
is
that
bad.
for bombs. It's like, oh yeah, that would happen when a bomb goes off, and that very cool.
Super cool.
There
I
you
think
go.
the performances across the board are great.
Yeah. Just
Some
the
great-
story.
some great
Once again,
cameos.
I don't know. Just like Public Enemy is like, I've already gotten these themes and these feelings from other war films. I didn't need to.
I wish it had been a little bit more like Generation Kill.
I don't know what that is, but let's do
HBO
it.
series, it's great. You should check it out.
Oh, we reviewed it. I didn't like it.
Well, I think that when the Wii was first announced with its motion control pointing device, I think the obvious idea that came into everybody's head is, hey, we're going to get first-person shooters that are going to use that.
Where we point at the screen and shoot.
Point at the screen and shoot. It seemed pretty natural. And we've played on the show a few
First-person shooters.
first-person shooters that were ported to that.
Call of Duty. Was there Call of Duty one?
I think
that
there
we played?
was, and maybe a Medal of Honor that we tried.
Actually, Call of Duty was the one that we did. Oh no, that was Medal of Honor where we actually got the light gun. Remember?
Well, it
that?
wasn't a light gun. It's just a piece of plastic that you put the
I think they called it the light gun.
Wiimote
but
in.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there really hasn't been a from the ground up designed for the Wii first-person shooter for that control mechanic.
Well, wasn't Metroid Prime theoretically done?
Well,
ground up
yes.
to be a first-person shooter.
Yeah, but Metroid Prime is so much more of a platformer than an
Yeah,
FPS. It's a valid
No, I know what you
point.
mean though.
Well, until now, we'll say Sega has done what they're touting as being the FPS for the Wii, and it's called Conduit. We're going to be talking about it this week. It's a science fiction first-person shooter, kind of in and around the Washington, D.C. area. And
Which is cool.
It's got a very, I guess, pretty standard conspiracy alien plot. But the cool thing about it is that all of the controls are mapped to the Wii and the nunchuck, the Wiimote and the nunchuck, and you can change them as much as you would like. In fact, the level of customization in this game is pretty staggering. You can literally change any of the placement of the on-screen HUD and map the buttons however you want, change the sensitivity of movement. They've actually done a really great job in trying to make the conversion from going like this to going like this as customizable as possible. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about playing Conduit on the Wii.
I think he's going to me first.
I'm going to Dan
I think
first.
it's
Dan, what do you
choice.
think about the Hurt Locker? Flippity floppity.
Johnny Depp and Christian Bale were terrible.
They were in the Hurt Locker? Where did I see
What
that?
if our show was just one big puzzle game? We had to figure out what they're talking
That's
about.
awesome.
That would be
1 week we do that. One
Okay.
week. All right. The
Not this
Conduit.
week.
It'd be funny, actually, you just stay in the 3-shot and you just cut out one of us from
Yeah,
each
mask
different
us
segment.
out. we're talking about random things, talking over each other to the camera.
Anyway, so
but
there really hasn't been
because,
from the ground up
a rap
designed
movie,
for
not
me.
my cup of tea.
And they play very similar roles, or that being
Usually
very
I'm like,
anti-hero and
yeah.
bad.
All right.
Conduit.
Well, here's the ish. The problem with this game is that I wasn't able to play very much of it because
Because you're gonna throw up.
Yeah, I got extremely motion sick.
And why is that, Dan?
It sounds like
because anytime you move the remote, it's like, whoa!
Yeah. It was.
Did you try to adjust the sensitivity or anything?
I adjusted. There's different styles. Unfortunately, the style that I was best at was the
vomit style?
Yeah, the vomit style.
I really shouldn't call it that.
Was trust. It was
they
called
call it that.
trust, and I do not trust it anymore. That being said, That being said, it's a great game, and this for the first time, I actually liked holding that nunchuck and that Wiimote to play a game. It felt like, it would only be fun this way. This wouldn't be fun with the controller. This is the way to have fun playing this game. And it felt like a reason to be using these things. It felt like this is a fun game where I have to, hone in and shoot, just like playing one of these in a different way. It's not like holding a gun and shooting things, but like that's a style of playing a game that's only fun that way.
Until you get nauseated.
Yeah, yeah. And I just got to a point where upgrade carrots on the sticks were being introduced and new bigger guns and things. And I anticipate that they get even better and better. So that system seems to work really well. I think this is a phenomenal game for the Wii. Or for any platform for that matter. And really, this stuff was so much fun. Despite the fact that I was
big deal coming from Dan Trachtenberg of the Toilet Rad Show.
Yeah, Dan Trachtenberg. It's funny. I played
Renowned Wii hater.
No, not renowned Wii hater.
Renowned motion effort hater.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wrote around that article from Kotaku about that I agree with every frickin' syllable of with controllers and why controllers are a good thing. And a really fascinating article you guys should check out on Kotaku. And then I started playing this game. It's like, wow, there's something to it.
Okay, what do you think?
Interesting.
Alex
would-
Albrecht, Toilet Rad Show, renowned Wii hater.
Noted Wii disliker. I wouldn't say hate, because Bloom Blocks, let's just say, Bloom Blocks, like yeah, so I'm going to start my review with this grand statement. Dan Trachtenberg. Comedy Styles into Dan Trachtenberg. This game could very well be a great game.
Heyo, but there's a but coming.
Well,
Also,
in my opinion, I hated every minute.
Oh, wow.
But I wanted to start it by saying
is interesting.
I see what the potential of the Conduit is. I see why people are giving it great ratings, because there is the potential that this is a great game for someone who can get into and enjoy the controls. I couldn't play this game for more than 10 minutes at a time. It was that frustrating. I tried it on all different settings. I spent a whole day playing this game in 10-minute chunks and 5 minutes of eating, screaming, looking on the computer for ideas, and then going back to it. I tried it sitting down. I tried it sitting down directly in front of the computer, or the TV. I tried it standing. I tried standing sideways a little bit. I tried it all the ways you could think. I was like, I would
did you try
take
it
this
with
game.
a cow? Did you try it here and now?
I probably did. I tried everything. I had a cow and I was on it, and I was like, I literally would play this game for 10 minutes, die 1,000 times, not be able to do anything even remotely close to something skillful. Put the controllers down and go, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, and walk away. And then go, okay, no. And it was almost like you'd see Homer Simpson like put it down, walk off camera, and then go like running up to it. And if I just go into it real quick. And I was like, all right, fine. And I cleared all the stuff away from in front of the TV, and I'm like, all right, you fucking got me, Wii. I'm here. This is what you want. I've seen the ads. Let's do it. Wah! And I started, and I was like, yeah, you fucker. Yeah, I can do it. And I'm controlling, and I was like, whoa, where am I looking? Why am I looking up here? Oh, who's hitting me? Who's here? And then I had 10 minutes of that and went, okay, that's not the way I experienced the game. I tried everything I could to get into this game. And that's why I wanted to start by saying it could very well be a great game for people who can get into the control mechanics of it. I could not crack it. And that goes to say, maybe that's why I don't like the Wii things, is that I literally just don't have the skill brain connection to be able to control it correctly.
Is it because we're old and crotchety and we're set in our ways?
No.
Maybe.
I would gather there's a lot of right when you said that, some guy was formulating his email of, I'm 45 and I love.
Well, I'm just saying that.
What did you think about it? Because I mean, and everything else, it was like, this could be a great Wii game. If you only have the Wii and you want to experience a first-person shooter, get it.
I oscillated wildly between this game is awesome to I hate this and I don't want to play it anymore. And it's interesting because those moments were when things were rocking and I was rocking, and then the difficulty ramps up to the point when the S hits the F.
I changed it. It was so hard, and I replayed the same thing over and over again in one spot that I put it to easy, and then it was like.
I don't know how far you guys got. Did you get to past the White House and all the Pentagon stuff?
I got a suit.
Yeah.
Trust suit.
Okay. It gets.
Library.
There is a point where when the S hits the F, when they're throwing lots of guys at you, as in any other first-person shooter, for me, that's when the control scheme falls apart because I was not able to easily switch between weapons. I was not able to. I was not able to negotiate the real intense battles as well as I wish I had, and that led to frustration for me. And it may very well be what you're saying is that maybe it would have either taken more practice or I just don't have the skill set necessary. But when it was a few enemies at a time and I'm going through rooms and taking dudes out and throwing grenades. I mean, once I got the grenade throw down, which takes a while of like, okay, I gotta keep this hand real steady and then throw with this hand. It was awesome, but it took a while, you know? And there is some really fun.
I did enjoy the lobbing of the grenades, but then I just run out of grenades because I'm like, lob, 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 because I can't shoot for crap.
Yeah, and there's some really fun gun types. I mean, the design of the game is fairly generic, and it also is a shame, you know, that it feels like I'm playing a N64 game graphically. But there's a lot of fun to be found. The enemy types are interesting and fun. Like you said, going through Washington, D.C. is cool. It just...
Yeah, the metro...
I got to a point where like, I literally don't want to put myself through this sequence because it's like the doing of it is frustrating.
Yeah.
Rather than
Easy, you gotta pop that shit on easy and pop it back.
We pop it back on the
Pop
easy
it
and
back.
pop it back?
Pop it back. Just
My
pop it.
pride
Pop
won't
it,
let
Johnny.
me.
Pop it.
My damned pride!
I know, I had to be able to do it on medium.
Yeah. Anyway,
Or
it's
normal.
an interesting game, and I give the guys a lot of credit for designing it and putting a lot of effort into making it work. And I think it does for the most part.
The irony is, I wanted to play. I think I probably enjoyed this the most. I would have played. I was excited to play more, and I could not. My body would not let me.
I love it.
My mind said yes, but my body said no.
I love it. You should talk to your ball doctor about that.
All right, we're back again with comics. It's been a while.
Been a while. Well, it's good that we're doing this leading up to Comic Con.
Yeah, we're getting.
We got to get back
amped for
into
Comic-Con.
our joint. Of
Last time we
comic
talked
people.
about comics, we very heavily featured superhero comics. And I think it's interesting, this time we're going to be talking about two very not superhero comics, but I think it's cool that it shows what comics can also do.
Right.
And the first thing we're going to talk about is a book that a lot of people have recommended to us, even to the point that somebody sent the book we actually read to us, and I thank you for doing that, appreciate it. It's Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead. And we read the first hardcover, which is the first 12 issues. And as a huge comic fan, I'm a little embarrassed to say that I hadn't read it before now. It was one of those books that for whatever reason I overlooked, but it's very much a fan favorite. And the reason for that is everybody loves zombies.
Who doesn't?
This is a book about
I mean, who doesn't love to hate zombies?
who doesn't love to kill them?
And to reiterate too, Walking Dead is the comic book where people go, "You're not reading The Walking Dead."
Right.
Yeah, right.
Which is one of those, when people say that to
Yeah,
you, you go,
fuck
I
it,
don't
yeah.
want to read that now.
Yeah.
Because we're
Well,
pretentious a-holes.
No.
So anyway, it is the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, we caved,
Classic
really.
zombie apocalypse scenario. In this case, a guy wakes up, he's a cop who was in a coma and wakes up post-zombie apocalypse wakes up in a hospital going, oh crap, everybody's a zombie now, and attempts to find his family. It is Robert Kirkman's idea of a long, ongoing zombie story. And I'm curious, Alex, if you liked it. It's
Big fan of zombie movies over there.
big
folks.
fan of zombie movies. This is a black and white comic.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little bit different
Which
look
is
than
funny
something
because it
we've-
actually feels color. Like, I didn't even remember that it was black and white until you just said that.
There's great gray tone coloring
Yeah.
in the book, and a few different artists.
Do you know when it was published?
I think it was like 2004.
Yeah.
So it was before or after?
I mean, it's
28
ongoing
days
now.
later?
It was right.
Was it after 28 days
It
later?
was right in the middle of all. I'll describe in my review.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
right
so
in
here's
midst
the
of all
thing.
that stuff.
Yeah, right. So here's the
You don't know.
thing.
You don't know. You don't know.
I enjoyed very much The Walking Dead. That said, to me, there wasn't really anything new or innovative to the genre of the zombie movie slash comic book.
It's not a movie.
Slash video
No
game.
slash.
But I mean, the
mean
zombie
the-
storytelling genre.
Which has become very much in vogue lately.
It has, yeah. I mean, like, you know, it starts the way that 28 Days Later started. Exactly. A guy wakes up in a hospital and doesn't know what's going on and nobody's around and then gets attacked by a zombie and goes, what the hell is this? And now it's a zombie movie or a zombie book. There were a couple things that I really liked. I loved the art style. Loved the art style. I thought the
You mean
storytelling.
overall, because of different artists throughout even the volume we saw, the Toni Morris
It seemed pretty uniform. It may have had a little flavor here and there, but it seemed pretty uniform to me. So, though there were more art people in the book, it didn't really change all that much,
Artists.
in my opinion.
Let's call them artists.
No, they
an
prefer
interesting
art
word to
people.
coin.
They prefer art people. I had a couple issues with what I felt were emotional changes on a dime that happened a lot throughout this book, where in one panel guy's smiling and the next panel he's like yelling at something, and you don't get to see that nice transition that you usually get to see. You know, that like when you look back at the panel, you go, oh yeah, I can see in this panel the thing that's gonna make him go here. So there were a little bit of those like quick snaps that kind of pulled me out, and I was like, oh, that just seemed so sudden. But there were some really fun moments. There were some truly genuine like, oh crap, zombie moments that I thought were really good.
Real page turning.
Yeah. Oh, and it's I mean, you fly through it, and where it lands at the end of it is something that's like, oh, interesting.
Right.
Ready to read more. So I think overall, I really liked it.
Dan, did you trill your R's over it or no?
Really, Dad?
If I could, I would. So yeah, I read these trades when they were out in trades when they came out. And I read it at the time when everyone was raving about it, and I read at the time where we were right in the midst of all the zombie movies. And my takeaway from it was, so what? You know, there's nothing in this comic that I haven't already seen many times before. Now,
Upon rereading,
and given some distance from the zombie movie,
I thought you were doing a Heisman Trophy Award. Yeah, that's cool.
going the distance. It was much better. I think, given perspective, I can see it for what it is rather than what it's related to, and I found it to be a much better comic than when I read it the first time. I think what it does offer is even hard to get, even in reading it like this, because what we don't get out of those movies is spending a year with these people, and then shifts happen.
Which is exactly what he went for.
Right.
You know.
And I think even moving on from this comic to invest 5 years over time, and I'm sure that the group that we're with, there may be some people are exactly the same and some completely new different people, and to have like the people that you've been bonding with forever and the people you just meet, you're put more as a experiencer in the shoes of the characters, which is pretty awesome that a medium can do that.
Yeah.
That being said, the same problem I had with Invincible that we reviewed, Kirkman also wrote, with this, in that none of his characters have distinct voices. All the dialogue in this comic is expositional.
Could be said
It's
by
all,
anybody.
It's all A, yes, it could be said by anybody.
Right.
But B, all the dialogue is there to push the story forward. Now it's a comic
explain
book,
the story,
and the
really.
medium needs to have that to a degree. But there are comics out there that are able to have people have a conversation that feels like a conversation inside a story, as opposed to the conversation is just narrating the story.
Which is interesting because the next book we're talking about does that, a lot of that.
Yeah. So I found that a little perturbing, and the pacing was. There's a few moments that did not earn their moments because the pacing was so abrupt that I almost wish those moments didn't exist because some other things were. Really, the plot is so tasty that I didn't mind that the way it's being told is a little bit
Tasty like human
unsophisticated.
brains. Human brains tasty.
Man, I almost agree word for word with what you just said. It is all of that. It's a fun read, but I completely agree about the dialogue. It's just a little too plain and vanilla and expository. And I wanted to have these characters be people that I dug rather than the situation being the thing that I dug.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe they grow as if we were to continue reading more because it's been going for years since this came out. But yeah, man, I completely agree. Anyway, I think it's a comic that's very easy to enjoy. Though.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
mean
If
to
you
come
like
off
zombie
negative.
movies and you don't read comics, this is for
Yeah.
you.
And you're
Run
right.
to the store.
Even Heather started
the art
reading
is
it
great.
and was like, wow, it's fun.
It's
The
fun
art's
to
great.
let loose an artist with drawing gore, and it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
fun to see half
A lot of good hatchets.
faces and stuff.
A lot of good hatchets.
It is gorgeous too.
The second book we're going to be talking about is much more underground indie something. This is something that a fan recommended to me via Twitter, and I just happened to be near Amazon. I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy it, knowing very little about it.
You were
It's
near Amazon?
I was near Amazon. I was on the Congo. No. It's called Britten and Brulightly, and it's from a first-time writer named Hannah Berry.
Oh, interesting.
And I
Sorry,
think
were you on Apple's website and you realized Apple?
it's really near.
This is really close to Amazon. A-P-A-M.
I was on Amazoo.
You was, Amazon just the next
One
stop.
letter away.
Sorry.
It's all right. Anyway, so first-time artist, so artist and writer, single person made the whole thing. Hannah Berry is her name, and it's a British noir mystery in the style of Agatha Christie almost, very kind of Poirot, and it's about this very odd little man who is a private investigator, and he has seen some dark days, and is for some reason is speaking to a teabag. You're a teabag, ass bag. No, speaking to
It's
a.
like, wait, what? What did I say?
Speaking to a teabag to kind of, we don't really know why, honestly.
Yep.
I won't try to explain it. But it's a mystery, and it is, he's a private investigator, and a dark and sexy woman comes into his, it's very noir tropes.
Femme fatale.
Yes, exactly. I know you like noirs, mysteries.
You're noir.
I think it's interesting to take a comic book and make this kind of story out of it. What do you think?
Recurring theme in this week's episode for me.
You went to your testicles.
because
Flipping the pages made him nauseous.
because once again, I didn't know what to get out of this experience that I have not already gotten out of all the other noir stories. The art is phenomenal. Reading this comic, more so than any other, I didn't feel as if I was reading a comic. I felt like I was watching an animated film, like playing in my mind. The art is very, very European. Reminds me of like Triplets to Belleville.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, and seeing in this large format is really enjoyable. I almost want to see more comics that way. But story-wise, if you love film noir, you should definitely read this comic. It is for fans of the genre. It does not supersede the genre.
You're always saying that.
Yeah.
That's
my
your
thing.
It's his thing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't supersede, that's what he says.
Transcend.
Transcend, yeah.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this comic. I thought, maybe it's because I haven't had as much in the way of interest in noir as a genre that I didn't get this really, and I said genre to be funny, not because I don't know how to pronounce genre. Because all of a sudden I was like, nobody said anything about that. That was a joke.
You say that a lot, so that's your thing.
Yeah, but I do genre when I say it, which usually is pretty clear what I'm doing, or I'm having a stroke.
Stroke
yes,
joke.
Gotta love stroke jokes. So I actually really enjoyed this. I think you're right that it was like watching an anime. Yeah, he had a little.
God just hated me. I actually did get a pain like right here.
All right, let him talk.
All right, I'm sorry.
He can't.
He's having a freaking
I was like,
full body
joke.
exam over here.
Joke jokes.
It's like giving himself a.
So Yeah, so I agree with you. It was like watching an animated movie. Like you didn't actually feel like you were reading a comic, and it flies. It really does fly. And there's some really interesting moments in it that, you know, like him waking up after having this experience that you don't even get to see.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, of course, that's like the best way to describe how crazy that must have been. Because if he doesn't, why do you get to remember? You know what I mean? Like it's just some great touches. I thought the story really flowed very well. I started when the teabag showed up. I was a little bit like, "Oh, okay. Well, how is this going to be explained?" And then halfway through, I was like, "Really? You're not going to explain it because that is fucked up." And then by the end, I was like, "Nah, it's just a teabag he talks to. I don't need an explanation. It's perfect."
I love that. That's great.
So I really actually enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's not a life-changing experience. It's just this really wonderful, short little story.
Yeah.
And it's very dark and very interesting, and it's dense. In order to follow the intricacies of the mystery, I found myself going back pages and going, oh, that's when we found that out, and that's when we, you know, and I love that. I love mysteries, and oddly, I don't read mystery novels, but I enjoy a well-spun mystery yarn.
I'm shocked that this is her first writing and drawing of her own book, because it seemed like...
And it is beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
definitely.
It's a good book you might want to check out.
Yeah.
That does it for comics.
So before we get to our emails, we do want to thank our sponsors, such lovely sponsors as Squarespace.com. Now, if you're not using Squarespace, you're just not using the internet. That's how I feel about it.
I agree.
These guys are unbelievable. They have the best WYSIWYG editor, amazing hosting packages. KevinRose.com is hosted on Squarespace right now, and he posted an article about like some new iPod Nano leaking footage. His site got put on dig, got slammed, completely stayed up.
Wow.
Emailed the guys and said, "Hey, thanks for putting me on like the super expensive, fancy, business plan." And they were like, "No, you're on the $8 plan. Like that's
The regular
That
plan.
is the cheapest plan that you can get, and it will withstand because they don't want anybody, no matter how much they pay, to have a problem with their site going
Also
down.
because Kevin's not really very important.
And also because Kevin's not very important. But also, you can get 10% off the entire lifetime of your hosting over at Squarespace if you head over to squarespace.com and use the coupon code TRS when you check out.
You know, I did that with my site, jeffcanada.com. I don't know if you guys
Yes.
heard the latest.
I have
No, I
actually.
haven't.
The GQ magazine actually named my site the #1 party school in America. Because you learn while you're there
It's like
and you
ASU.
have fun.
It's like ASU. Amazing.
Dan's
Dan's
not impressed.
Dan's like, next week.
Running
maybe
gag.
Wow, we screwed that one up big time. Okay.
Danzy.
Gotta tell you guys about Entourage. This is a show I've watched
Love.
every single season of. It's basically what The Hills is for tweens. Entourage is for probably tweens also, and everyone else. The show was created by Mark Wahlberg, and it follows what started out as the misadventures he had when first moving out to LA with his movie career. And what's awesome is finally in season 6, Mark Wahlberg is going to be on the show playing himself
Oh, that's
on the
fun.
show based on it. Very cool. It follows basically 6 months after we last saw The Dudes, as Vince is now on Scorsese's next picture, so we get to see
crazy.
him interacting with Martin Scorsese for
crazy.
Gatsby. And it comes back this Sunday. We have an exclusive trailer that we're going to be playing at the end of the show.
That's so cool.
So stick tuned for that.
Awesome.
Also, GoDaddy.com. Can't forget about them. They are awesome. It's your place to go for anything web. Everything web, everything web. Nothing sells better than Bush songs. So GoDaddy.com, it's a place to buy domain names very inexpensively, to get your hosting there. They have really great customer service. That's actually my favorite thing about GoDaddy, honestly, is I got my domain there, and they followed up with me and made sure there wasn't anything else I needed. They got privacy plans, great stuff. And if you go to revision3.com/GoDaddy, you'll see all kinds of different promo codes you can use for different kinds of offers that will suit your needs. I highly recommend the ones that have to do with our show.
Of course, the best offers. Also, be sure to check out JV's World over at Revision 3. JV is a shock jock from NorCal, I think, and he does a bi-weekly rant on Revision 3 that is very stimulating. Let's just put it that way.
On Revision 3, but not about Revision 3.
Sometimes it's about Revision 3.
I can only imagine. So head over to revision3.com/JVsWorld. All right, let's get to our email of the week. Dear Radleys, that's us. I consider myself to be a fairly dedicated geek, comics, movies, TV shows, and games. And one of my favorite, any one of those hobbies is enough to occupy my time on a weekly basis. But I also have a full-time job and a wife. Gets tricky. I feel like I'm consuming as much geek media as my schedule can possibly handle, and then I watch the Totally Rad show. The amount of movies, TV shows, games, and comics the three of you discuss on the show at any given week are enough to put me to shame. My question is, how do you find the time necessary to devote to multiple hobbies/interests while still having time for a normal life outside of geekdom? That's assuming that we have one. And in your case, when it's your job, how do you keep what should be fun from becoming a chore, like vomiting or not enjoying a game? Thanks for the radness, Evan Marquez, North Glen, Colorado. Interesting question, Evan.
Yeah.
It is a difficult geek juggling act. Jeffrey, how do you handle it?
Oh, you've seen my geek juggling act.
It's amazing.
I do keyboards and CPUs.
Oh, I was thinking more of like the geek, like eating heads off chickens. But
Oh,
go ahead.
all right.
Yeah, I did that. Wordplay.
I will say it is a challenge. You know, that's assuming that we even have normal lives. But yeah, I mean, I try to do stuff all the time that is not this show and under this purview. You know, I play basketball on the weekends, and I try to do lots of different stuff. But I tend to find that when I sit down in front of the television or when I'm gonna pop in a video game, less and less am I able to do something that is not applicable to the show, and that's a challenge. And the second part of his question, which is, you know, how does that not become a chore at a certain point? I think, you know, it tends to be the case that anything you do in life that you have to do feels like a chore at sometimes. But I think we have the luxury of being able to really decide what we want to talk about on this show. So I love all the stuff that we're able to do, but it does get jam-packed and it's not easy. So basically, I don't have an answer. It somehow
Doesn't is
all
the answer.
fits in.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you?
There's a lot of cramming sometimes.
There's definitely times where it does feel like work because there's a lot to get done. But for the most part, it is really all stuff that I've been consuming anyway. So the show's just a way to
Monetize that?
Yeah, just make it, you know, a job. But you know, as far as normal life outside of stuff, that doesn't really exist for me. I mean, even if I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, we're going to the movies or watching TV or reading a comic.
I think more to the point, it's when people say, well, I want to make a web show. What should I make a web show about? The thing is, we made a web show about the stuff we're genuinely interested in.
So we're already doing this.
We're already doing it.
Anyway. I mean, for me, the biggest affronter of all this time suck is the TiVo.
Yeah.
You think it wouldn't. You think because we can now record things that you don't have to be on schedule, but because of that ability, I record more
stuff,
and it just sits there going, watch me, watch me,
and
watch me.
I just, there's nothing more daunting than seeing that I only have 20% left, 2%, and then it's like, I gotta clear that TiVo, and it becomes
You're not gonna just delete
work.
it. You're gonna watch it. And
It is absolutely
Which isn't for the show.
work.
So it's almost like work. You've made that your work.
Yeah,
That's true. That's my
side job.
extracurricular movie watching.
For me, I will say that I actually appreciate the fact that I'm forcing myself to play games that I wouldn't play. Usually for games. Most movies, it's like fun excuse for 2 hours and you're done. Games is where it gets really, really difficult week to week, is because you have 2 days and you want to play as much, you know, like I wanted to get through Ghostbusters, and that takes however many hours. You know, I put 20 hours into Mass Effect, and that didn't even finish the game, but that's 20 hours in 3 days, because you only have 3 days. Whereas before, I might pick up Mass Effect, and then that's the game that I play for 2 months, and then I switch to a new game. So the thing that I actually really like about doing this show is it forces me to sit down and play these games. I've played more games in the last 2 years than I probably have in my entire life, because I was not the guy who would pick up a game on Monday, be done with it by Wednesday, and then want to pick up a game on Thursday to play more. I would usually just scratch all of those games and play WoW.
That's a whole other discussion that we should have on another episode about the kind of balance of when you see these reviews online and even our discussions of stuff on the show, it's based on a very compressed amount of time to be able to even do it. And a lot of people don't experience their media that way. A lot of people relax and pop in when they have time, or play an hour here, play. And it is different. So, I mean, that's another discussion.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say was, it's really easy for me to disassociate the fact that I have to play something or I have to watch something. If it's enjoyable, it's enjoyable. If it's not enjoyable, it's not enjoyable, and I have to be doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it may exacerbate the fact that I don't like something, but it never goes from, wow, this would be enjoyable if I didn't have to play it. That to me is sort of apples and oranges. But thank you, Evan, so much for the question. If you'd like to have your email answered on the show, please feel free to send your email to fans@totallyradshow.com.
That's also, you would send us backgrounds. We love the backgrounds. You can download this background actually at totallyradshow.com. You can also go there and find the specifications that you need to make a background. You can find our logo. We love getting those at fans@totallyradshow.com. Also, if you want to send in a mission video for the beginning of the show, go to totallyradshow.com/missions, find out what we're doing this week, and video yourself telling us to do that.
There you go.
Bruno's movie next week.
Oh, is it? Interesting.
Bruno.
Oh, wait, Bruno and Overlord 2.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna do Overlord 2. Yeah.
Sweet.
So there you go. Mission video it up.
All right.
Because I was like, wait, I just gotta get here.
Want to tell you guys again, as we've been doing, about Slash Film.
Dude.
Because
I've started to read that religiously now, every day. It's amazing. Some of the stuff that you get to see is ridiculous. Like now, the funny thing is now, I see Dan's tweets and I go, pfft, done it, seen it.
Well, the reason why that's good, because the reason why I was is I'm going, these guys need to see this thing.
That's good.
So I will stop tweeting it if you guys start going to Slash Film.
And then there's a song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the big deal with Slash Film is, like, before I was able to go to things like Comic-Con, the only place and a lot of you out there aren't making it to Comic-Con, the place to get all that news besides our show
stuff,
but to see it on time is Slash Film. And not only that, but last year it's when we met them.
Yeah, we met Peter.
Yeah. Well, we didn't meet Peter there, but we met we met him there also. But we met Peter at
E3. Yeah.
Oh, it was E3?
But we met the guys because from that, the Slash Film cast guys, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Was it E3? I thought it was Comic-Con.
So it's funny, no, because it was the LA Convention Center parking lot.
Yeah. Anyway, it was when we became friends, and that's why we wanted to talk about
love them. Yeah. Speaking of Frickin' which is right next door to Comic-Con, so we're going to be there too. We're going to be doing a live show from Comic-Con. It's going to be explosively awesome.
Yes,
without
indeed.
any explosions.
Actually?
Maybe a little bit. 7:15, is it?
Yep.
7:15, room 7AB on Friday night.
Yep.
So get there if you can, and in order to help people support these Totally Rad Show guys, because we're going to be there, we're going to be going around the floor, we'll be all over the place, so we want to be able to pick you guys out so we can come up and say hi, get pictures, high five your babies, whatever you want us to do.
We love doing that.
It's the best thing ever. The hands are so soft. We're going to be discounting all of the TRS merchandise leading up to Comic-Con. We haven't
So you can get a shirt, so you can wear your shirt at Comic-Con.
Exactly, because we want people to have to fly their flags, as it were. So follow our Twitter feeds. We're going to be sending out the information. It may be out before this episode comes out, but it's going to be a little Comic-Con type coupon code.
What is your Twitter feed, Alex?
My Twitter feed is /Alex Albrecht.
Mine's /Jeff Canada.
Mine's /Danny TRS.
And his is /Snoop Mikey. I also want to say, if you're there on Saturday, me and my friend Roman Dirge are going to be sitting down, and I'm going to be talking to him about his little Lenore project on a panel on Saturday, so it should be fun. Come on over.
One of the items that we won't be discounting.
Ooh.
We won't be discounting it because it's brand new.
Spanking new.
Well.
Big thing.
Well, we'll finally put together the intro DVDs for Season 1 and Season 2, and they're going to be on sale momentarily.
Very soon. If
Possibly
it's not already
even
on
before.
sale, yes.
Yeah, so if you go to revision3.com/TRS-DVD, right?
Yep.
And these things are jam-packed with extra stuff, commentaries.
There's commentary from us.
There's
commentary from Steve. I'm going to watch all of that.
There's an unaired first pilot of the Totally Rad Show on the DVD.
The intro and
never before seen intro. montages
Fun stuff.
galore.
It's going to be really fun.
So check
I
it
will be
out.
buying a copy and watching every commentary.
So season 1, season 2, you can check them out.
Yeah.
revision3.com/TRSDVD. Was there anything else, gentlemen?
PAX.
Well, we are coming to
We
PAX.
are going to PAX. So
That-
get
more
your badges
information,
early.
yeah,
Get your
more
badges early.
information.
because
Get your
that's
tickets.
We're gonna be there Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
You don't
we'll
wanna
be there the whole
If you don't
time.
want to get Comic-Con, to get your tickets to PAX now.
Or both. We love seeing it both.
No,
I think
no.
that does it.
That does
this
it.
episode.
I love it. All right, that does it for this edition of the Totally Rad Show. Hope you had a great July 4th weekend. Yes, I did that. I remembered. Nobody was talking about it. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
This comes out after July 4th.
That's why I said I hope you had a good one.
Exactly.
That's
why I
Nate
concur.
Trachtenberg. See you after the holidays.
It's funny that you started singing that Michael Jackson song because earlier.
Died.
He died.
You heard.
Oh my Jesus.
The Conduit. It doesn't really matter if it's black or white.
Ah. That's funny. That reminds me
the
of a Michael
Conduit.
Jackson song.
Quite a thriller, if you don't agree, Dan, don't you?
So my cousin Billie Jean, who is not my lover, told me about this game called The Conduit.
Hey, did either of you guys beat it?
Yeah, I didn't finish the game, but I beat it.
Oh,
Masturbation.
All right, here we go.
Dan Trachtenberg.
All right, just get it without. Do you guys want to turn and do that without me?
Can I just do the no edits?
The show is like waves of what Hollywood is really like, which are ups and downs and ups and downs. Last year was real down and depressing. I'm getting back to the excitement and fun of being a movie star and living that life.
Action!
So, you ready?
I am.
Let's go reintroduce you to the world. What the hell's going on?
We pick up about 4 or 5 months after we left off, and the glory days are back.
Vincent Chase is a gigantic movie star again. This year is going to be a year of the guys enjoying themselves, having fun.
Run away, Lloyd. Everything all right over here?
Yes.
Now, when you speak of me, you're going to speak well, right?
I don't do anything but that.
Vinny, ready to make this comeback complete?
Says he is.
Hey, Ari. I've been a huge fan of Entourage for a long time. They do a lot of stuff that happens on a daily basis.
Wake up!
That's the thing about Entourage. Everything we do is as real as possible.
Game on!
I think each person relates to each of these characters.
That was awesome. Unreal.
I've always thought people were just going to be obsessed with what it's really like to live and function in this world.
It's really hard to top the seasons past, but somehow Doug Ellen manages to find a way.
The season is really about friendship. You see all these guys out here just having a good time, and I think when people watch the show, they go, I wish that was me and my friends.
All right, everyone in, let's go!